What would you do if an unexpected guest crashed the happiest day of your life? Imagine this. You're at a beautiful wedding, everything's perfect, and then an alien shows up. Not just any alien, but one with secrets that could change everything you thought you knew about Earth, and even the universe. What happens when he takes the microphone and starts revealing truths no one saw coming? Could it be possible that humans have been under surveillance for centuries? Could there be something more to our planet than we've ever imagined? And more importantly, how do you go back to the party after that? Weddings are always a big deal. You've got the fancy clothes, the cake, and that one cousin who somehow turns every family event into a talent show. But this wedding, well, it's got something different. See, everything started off normal enough. Guests mingling, music playing, the bride's aunt trying to micromanage the decorations like it's the Olympics. But then, out of nowhere, a new guest shows up. And by guest, I don't mean someone's random +1. No, I'm talking about an alien. Yeah, you heard me right. An actual alien. Not in some costume or cheap makeup either. This guy looks like he just took a wrong turn at the Milky Way. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would an alien crash a wedding? Don't they have, like, intergalactic treaties to sign or something? But nope. This one's just standing there on the edge of the crowd, like he's deciding whether or not to come in for the hors d'oeuvres. And I've got to say, it takes a special kind of confidence to show up to a human wedding uninvited, especially when you don't exactly blend in. But hey, if you've traveled a few light years, you're probably not too worried about small things like, I don't know, basic social cues. At first, people don't even notice him. I mean, why would they? Everyone's too busy making small talk about the weather or pretending they actually care what flavor the cake is. But then, one by one, they start to realize something's off. That guy by the door, he's a little too shiny and tall. And, oh yeah, he's got 3 eyes. But nobody knows what to do. I mean, what are you supposed to do when an alien crashes your wedding? Call security, offer him a drink, or maybe just pretend everything's fine and hope he leaves quietly. So, the wedding's in full swing now. You've got the typical wedding chaos going on. People laughing way too loud, kids running around like they've had 6 cans of soda, and of course, the aunt who's suddenly an expert in everything. The bride and groom are doing their best to keep things moving smoothly. But let's be honest, every wedding's got its own special kind of chaos. This one, though, it's about to take things up a notch thanks to our unexpected extraterrestrial guest. Now, the alien's still hanging around the edges, watching. You can practically see the confusion on his face, trying to make sense of all the strange human customs. He's probably thinking, why is everyone in such weird outfits? And what's with that guy in the corner who's had way too many drinks and is already doing the Macarena? But instead of leaving like any sensible being would, he starts edging closer, slowly. Just testing the waters. The guests, meanwhile, are starting to notice him a little more. There's this awkward ripple going through the crowd, people nudging each other, whispering, trying to figure out if this is some kind of wedding prank. One of the groomsmen glances over, squints, and mutters something like, I don't remember inviting a dude in a spacesuit. It's that kind of moment where everyone knows something is off, but no one wants to be the first to say it out loud. Then there's the bride's uncle. Let's call him Bob. Bob's had a few too many glasses of champagne and doesn't seem to notice the whole alien situation. He stumbles over to our shiny new guest and, completely unfazed, slaps him on the back like they've been best friends for years. Hey buddy, enjoying the party? Grab a drink. The alien just stares at him, clearly trying to process what kind of weird human ritual this is. Meanwhile, Bob's already off to find another drink, blissfully unaware that he's just welcomed an intergalactic traveler to the reception. And now, the rest of the guests are in this weird limbo. Do they ignore the alien and go back to pretending the flower arrangements are interesting? Or do they confront him and risk turning the whole thing into a scene? Honestly, the only thing missing at this point is someone suggesting he join the conga line. But just like every wedding, things keep moving. The music's playing, the guests are mingling, and everyone's acting like nothing is too out of the ordinary. Even though, let's be real, this is probably the most out of the ordinary thing that's ever happened at a wedding. And our alien? Well, He's starting to look a little more curious about what all this celebration is about. So, the alien's been hanging around for a bit now, awkwardly watching the humans from the sidelines. At this point, it's like he's debating whether to leave quietly or fully commit to the weirdness that's unfolding. And then, just as everyone's starting to settle into this strange new normal, boom, the alien decides he's ready to join the party. Yep, he walks right into the reception like he's been invited all along. And let me tell you, the reaction from the crowd is pure gold. You know that moment when someone walks in and everyone turns to look, but no one really knows what to say? Yeah, that's exactly what happens here. There's this ripple of awkward silence that spreads across the room as people realize, wait, he's not a guy in a costume. That's a legit alien. Eyes widen, jaws drop, and for a good 10 seconds, no one makes a sound. It's like someone hit the pause button on the whole wedding. Then, of course, you've got the people who are still in complete denial. One lady near the buffet mutters, "This has to be some kind of weird performance art, right?" Meanwhile, another guest pulls out their phone to start filming because, let's be real, if there's an alien at your wedding, that's prime social media content. The hashtag practically writes itself. Hashtag #SpaceGestAtYouWedding. But the alien? Oh, he's completely unfazed by all the stares. He just strolls right in like it's no big deal. If anything, he looks kind of confused, like, why is everyone looking at me? Don't humans have guests from different planets all the time? He's clearly trying to play it cool, but he's got this slightly awkward vibe, like he's not quite sure if he's supposed to shake hands, bow, or start doing some alien equivalent of a dance. And trust me, no one here knows it either. At this point, you've got the wedding DJ still playing some upbeat music, which only makes the whole scene even weirder. The alien's just wandering around, observing the guests with what looks like genuine curiosity. He pokes at the food table, lifts up a slice of pizza like it's some strange artifact from a distant world, which, to be fair, depending on the caterer, it might as well be, and generally just tries to make sense of human party culture. Then there's that one guy. There's always that one guy every wedding, who's just a little too chill. Let's call him Dave. Dave's had a few beers, he's feeling good, and apparently he's completely unbothered by the fact that there's an alien roaming around. He strolls up to the alien like they're old buddies and says, "Hey man, nice outfit. What planet you from?" The alien just stares at him for a second, probably trying to figure out how to respond. After what feels like an eternity, he finally says something like, "Cyraxian 9, located in the Andromeda cluster. I am here to study your customs." Dave, of course, just nods like that's the most normal answer he's ever heard. Cool, cool. Well, the open bar's that way, so enjoy yourself. And with that, he walks off, leaving the alien standing there, still holding that slice of pizza, probably wondering what kind of planet he's landed on. By now, most of the guests are doing that thing where they pretend they're not staring, but they're totally staring. It's like they can't decide whether to introduce themselves or just back away slowly. Meanwhile, the bride and groom, oh, they've noticed. But they're in that awkward position where they don't want to ruin their big day by starting a scene. So they do what any reasonable couple would do. They send over the best man to handle the situation. The best man, bless his heart, walks over with all the confidence of a guy who's never had to deal with extraterrestrial wedding crashers before. He clears his throat and says, "Hey there. So, are you enjoying the party?" The alien looks at him with those 3 shiny eyes and replies, "Your customs are primitive but intriguing. I will continue to observe." The best man just nods, completely unsure of how to respond to that. "Okay, well, let me know if you need anything, like, water or space snacks." And with that, he walks away, leaving the alien to continue his investigation of human wedding rituals. And now, the whole vibe of the wedding has shifted. There's this weird mix of excitement, confusion, and a little bit of awe. People are whispering to each other, snapping pics from across the room, and secretly wondering, is this really happening? Did we just get a wedding crasher from another galaxy? At this point, the wedding's hit a kind of standstill. People are doing that thing where they're pretending everything's normal, but every few seconds, their eyes dart back to the alien, who, by the way, is now making his way toward the stage. You know, the one with the microphone. Yeah, that microphone. The one meant for speeches about love, forever, and slightly embarrassing stories about the groom's college years. But instead, it's about to be used by an alien who just tried pizza for the first time. The alien, in all his shiny, three-eyed glory, walks up to the mic with the confidence of someone who has absolutely no idea he's not supposed to be there. And just like that, the entire room goes silent. You can literally hear the sound of champagne glasses being put down, followed by a few awkward coughs. The bride's grandmother squints at the alien, probably thinking she needs to get her glasses checked. Meanwhile, the DJ has completely frozen, finger hovering over the playlist, unsure if he should start playing Let's Get It On or just wait this out. And then, it happens. The alien taps the microphone. Tap, tap, tap. And with all the grace of a being who's clearly never seen a wedding before, says, "Greetings, humans. I am Zolta of the Zeraxian Collective, here to study your fascinating and perplexing species." Cue the stunned silence. You could cut the awkward tension in the room with a butter knife. A few brave guests exchange wide-eyed glances, as if to say, "Did that alien just introduce himself?" Like, casually. Meanwhile, Dave, yes, Dave from earlier, gives the alien a thumbs up from the back of the room like, "You got this, man." The alien continues, clearly misunderstanding the mood of the crowd. It is truly a curious custom you have, gathering in large groups to celebrate the temporary bonding of two individuals in what you call matrimony. This is not unlike the Zeraxian union ceremony, though ours involves mind melding and synchronized telepathic chanting. Primitive, yet charming. Now, you'd think someone would step in at this point. Maybe the best man, maybe the groom, but nope. Everyone's too stunned to move. And really, who would know the protocol for dealing with an alien speech at a wedding? There's no chapter for this in the wedding planner handbook. So, the alien keeps going, completely oblivious to the confusion he's stirring up. "I have observed your food, mostly carbohydrates and fermented liquids. Inefficient fuel sources, but I can see why you enjoy them. Your dancing, however, is far more perplexing. In Zeraxian culture, we resolve disputes through synchronized levitation contests, much more efficient than your random flailing limbs." At this point, a few guests are trying so hard not to laugh. I mean, come on, the alien just roasted human dancing, and no one knows how to handle it. One guy in the back snorts into his drink, and even the bride is covering her mouth, desperately trying to keep it together. The groom, well, he's too shocked to even blink. I mean, it's not every day your wedding gets hijacked by an extraterrestrial critic of Earth culture. The alien pauses for a moment, scanning the crowd with his three eyes, probably trying to figure out why everyone looks so uncomfortable. Then he goes on, "But I must say, this practice of speeches is most curious. It is a verbal display of dominance, yet no true information is exchanged. On Zeraxia, we use energy pulses to convey such sentiments. Your words, however, lack precision. And there it is, the moment. The alien just inadvertently roasted every wedding speech that's ever been given. Some of the guests start nervously clapping, as if that's going to help diffuse the situation. You can practically feel the awkward energy bouncing around the room. One bridesmaid leans over to her friend and whispers, "Is this for real? Like, really real?" And then, just as people are wondering if this is going to turn into an intergalactic TED talk, the alien drops a truth bomb. Casually, like it's no big deal. "Oh, and I must mention, your planet's moon is not a natural satellite. It was placed there as an observation post by the first species to visit your planet. But do not worry, they have long since moved on. You are no longer being monitored as closely." Silence. Complete, utter silence. Every single guest in the room is now staring at the alien, wide-eyed, wondering if they just heard what they think they heard. Even the DJ is frozen in place, hand on the volume knob, mouth hanging open. The bride's grandmother drops her glass, and it shatters on the floor, but no one even flinches. The alien, on the other hand, is totally unfazed by the chaos he's just unleashed. He steps away from the microphone like he's just delivered the most normal wedding speech in the history of the universe. Meanwhile, the humans are left grappling with the revelation that their moon was apparently installed, like IKEA style. So there it is, the bombshell revelation that the moon isn't exactly what we all thought it was. And while everyone's brains are still trying to process that mind-blowing piece of info, the alien, totally unaware of the chaos he's caused, just keeps going. I mean, why stop there, right? He casually continues, yes, the moon was placed there by an advanced civilization as a monitoring device, but I wouldn't be too concerned. Your species has progressed far enough that you no longer need to be watched so intimately. You've passed the initial test. Congratulations. Passed the initial test. What does that even mean? The room is now a mix of stunned silence and nervous side glances. You've got guests wondering if they just heard the intergalactic equivalent of, "Congrats, you didn't blow yourselves up yet." The alien tilts his head, as if sensing the tension, but he doesn't seem to understand why everyone's freaking out. He blinks his 3 eyes and adds, I see I have caused confusion. Allow me to clarify. The civilization that placed your moon there is no longer active in this sector of the galaxy. They simply wanted to monitor the progress of intelligent life forms to ensure you didn't accidentally trigger an extinction event. And from my observation, you've managed. Somewhat. Somewhat? At this point, people don't know whether to laugh, cry, or start asking questions. A few brave souls at the back of the room start whispering furiously, trying to make sense of what's happening. But the alien, he's totally in his own zone. To him, this is just a casual Tuesday chat. And then, just when the tension couldn't get any weirder, the alien says something that flips the entire room upside down. Oh, and speaking of your planet, you should be aware that the core of Earth is not solid iron, as you believe. It is, in fact, an energy source, a very ancient one. In my travels, I have seen similar cores in use by advanced civilizations for planetary defense. He pauses for a second, clearly amused by the idea. I suppose you haven't figured out how to activate it yet. Fascinating. Activate it. Suddenly, you can feel the weight of that word settle over the room like a thick fog. The guests are no longer just mildly confused. They're fully on edge now. One guy in the back mutters to his friend, "Did he just say the Earth has an off switch?" But before anyone can react, the alien keeps going casually, like he's just explaining the weather. No need to panic. The core has remained dormant for millennia. It's unlikely that you'll activate it anytime soon, at least not on purpose. However, if your species were to unlock the potential of your core energy source, it could serve as a formidable shield against external threats. Very useful, I'd say. Now, the bride's cousin, let's call her Sarah, decides she's had enough. She stands up, looking more curious than afraid, and blurts out, Wait. Are you saying Earth has a secret defense system buried inside it, and we've just been sitting on it this whole time?" The alien tilts his head again, a slight smile playing at the corner of his, alien face. In simple terms, yes, although I wouldn't recommend tampering with it unless you are prepared for the consequences. The last species that tried, well, let's just say they no longer exist. At this point, half the guests look like they're about to faint. You've got one guy in the front row quietly Googling Earth's core energy defense system on his phone, like that's going to bring up any results. Meanwhile, the bride's grandmother is fanning herself with a napkin, muttering something about the good old days when wedding speeches were about love and commitment, not galactic extinction events. But the alien is still completely oblivious to the chaos he's causing. He thinks he's being helpful. He genuinely believes he's dropping some useful knowledge here. And in his mind, this is all perfectly normal wedding speech material. He even seems a little proud, like he's giving humanity a leg up in the galaxy's most dangerous game. Then, without missing a beat, the alien adds one last detail, just for good measure. Oh, and before I forget, your sun is due for a minor energy burst within the next 300 years. It's nothing to worry about, but it will temporarily increase solar radiation on your planet. Just something to keep in mind. And that's when the panic really sets in. People are glancing at each other wide-eyed, like, did he just casually mention that our sun is going to fry us in a few centuries? One guest, who's clearly had enough of this sci-fi nightmare, turns to his friend and whispers, "Forget the wedding cake. I need a drink." But here's the kicker. Even with all this mind-blowing information flying around, the alien just smiles and says, "But do not worry. Your species has great potential. I have no doubt that you will adapt. As you say, humanity prevails." And with that, the tension in the room suddenly shifts. It's like, for a brief moment, people actually believe him. That despite the alien casually dropping galaxy-shattering facts, he's genuinely impressed with humanity. And somehow, that makes all the chaos a little easier to handle. The guests, still shell-shocked, but oddly reassured, slowly start clapping. It's not a thunderous applause. It's more like a slow, confused clap that says, "We have no idea what just happened, but we're rolling with it." Even the bride, who's been frozen in place this whole time, cracks a tiny smile, as if to say, "Well, at least our wedding was memorable." So there it is. The alien just casually revealed Earth's hidden defense system, hinted at a sun-induced BBQ in a few centuries, and dropped a truth bomb about the moon being an ancient surveillance device. You'd think the room would still be in full-on panic mode, right? But nope. Humans are nothing if not adaptable. After a few moments of stunned silence, the guests start to do what humans do best when they're overwhelmed. They pretend everything is totally fine. The bride's father, bless him, takes a deep breath, stands up, and awkwardly claps. "Well, that was, quite a speech. Thank you, Zoltar, for enlightening us." His voice cracks just a little, but hey, give the guy credit. He's holding it together. And just like that, the crowd starts to clap along, some more enthusiastically than others. You've got people nodding like they totally understood what just happened. They didn't. And a few brave souls even cheer. Because really, what else are you going to do? Throw an alien out of your wedding? I don't think so. The alien steps away from the microphone, clearly pleased with himself. In his mind, he's just given the ultimate wedding gift. Priceless intergalactic knowledge. He's standing there, all three-eyed glowing with pride, like he just delivered the greatest speech in human history. And in his defense, it was probably the most interesting wedding speech anyone in that room has ever heard. Meanwhile, the guests are trying to process everything while awkwardly shuffling toward the buffet. Because, when in doubt, eat. The groom's cousin grabs a slice of pizza, muttering, "Well, at least we're not being watched by aliens anymore, I think." His friend shrugs, "Dude, I'm just here for the cake. If the world ends tomorrow, at least I'll have had dessert." The alien, of course, doesn't quite grasp the human concept of awkward small talk, so he follows them to the buffet. He's still examining Earth's finest cuisine with that curious, slightly baffled look. He picks up a deviled egg and stares at it like it holds the secrets of the universe. Maybe it does. Who knows at this point? As people start to relax, well, relax as much as you can after learning your planet has an on/off switch. The mood in the room shifts back to semi-normal. The D-Day, clearly unsure of how to top an alien speech, hesitates for a second before pressing play on the next song. Something upbeat and fun, maybe Dancing Queen or Uptown Funk. Because really, nothing says, "I just found out the moon's a spy satellite," like a disco track. The alien, now fully immersed in the human experience, watches people dance with that same confused expression. He turns to Dave. Yes, Dave is still here, and asks, "Is this another form of ritual combat?" Dave, ever the legend, just laughs and says, "Nah, man, it's just dancing. You should try it. Just move your limbs around. It's not that deep." And because this wedding couldn't get any weirder, the alien actually gives it a try. He starts awkwardly moving his arms and legs in what can only be described as the universe's most uncoordinated attempt at dancing. But hey, points for effort, right? The guests are watching, some trying not to laugh, others cheering him on. One guy in the back yells, "Go Zoltar, shake those tentacles, arms." The bride and groom, still in a bit of a daze, share a look. It's the kind of look that says, "Well, at least our wedding will be remembered." And honestly, isn't that the dream? To have a wedding so memorable, so completely bonkers, that people will still be talking about it years later. Mission accomplished. Finally, as the night winds down, the alien makes his way back to the microphone one last time. The crowd holds their breath, probably thinking, "Oh no, what now?" But instead, Zoltar simply says, "Thank you for allowing me to observe your fascinating species. I will return to Zeraxia with much knowledge, and I will bring you this." He pauses dramatically, holding up something small and glowing. It looks like a tiny orb, shimmering with otherworldly light. The guests lean in, curious. What is it? A gift? An ancient artifact? The key to unlocking Earth's core energy defense system? Nope. It is a Zeraxian delicacy, Zoltar announces proudly. You may call it an interstellar snack. He hands it to the bride, who looks equal parts confused and amused. Enjoy. And with that, Zoltar steps back, gives a polite alien nod, and walks off, just as casually as he entered. No grand exit, no dramatic beam of light taking him back to his spaceship. He just walks out the door, leaving behind a room full of humans who are now wondering if the real wedding gift was the existential crisis they picked up along the way. As the door closes behind him, someone near the front of the room breaks the silence with the only logical response. Well, that happened. The whole room bursts into laughter, the tension finally breaking. The DJ cranks up the music, and everyone goes back to dancing, eating, and celebrating. Because if there's one thing humanity is good at, it's finding a way to keep the party going, alien invasion or not. And as the camera pans over the now relaxed wedding guests, the bride and groom share one last look, raising their glasses in a toast to the weirdest, most unforgettable day of their lives. To Zoltar, someone shouts, and the whole crowd cheers. So there you have it. What started as a normal wedding turned into the wildest, most mind-blowing event ever, thanks to an alien with a knack for dropping universal truth bombs. But as crazy as things got, in the end, we're left with one big question. What else don't we know? What other secrets could be hiding right in front of us, waiting to be discovered in the most unexpected moments? And maybe, just maybe, if an alien ever crashes your big day, you'll be ready for whatever mind-blowing twist they bring. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep an eye on the sky. You never know who or what might be watching you.